So what I remember from yesterday is we learned about Mrs. Green, which is the characteristics of a living organism. So the M stands for movement, the R stands for respiration, the S stands for sensitivity, the G stands for growth, the other R stands for reproduction, the E stands for excretion, and the N stands for nutrition. Then I also remember that we said that biology is basically the study of living organisms. And then I also remember that a car has 5 characteristics of a living organism, which is movement, excretion, sensitivity, and nutrition, and respiration.
So now what we want to do is that the examiner can choose to, may not necessarily ask you like list the 7 characteristics of living organisms or do this, do that. But now what the examiner can choose to do is to ask you for the definitions of all the characteristics of living organisms. So now what we want to do is, yesterday we were discussing, so I just want to give you the actual definitions of the characteristics of living organism. The first definition, the first characteristic using Miss Green is movement, right? So movement is the first characteristics. So what is movement? Movement is a change of position by an object. Second one is respiration. So respiration is a chemical reaction that occurs inside living cells that release energy. All right, and then the next one, sensitivity. Sensitivity is the ability to detect changes in the environment and respond to it. And then the next one is growth. So growth is a permanent increase in size and mass. And then the next one is reproduction. Reproduction is the ability of living organisms to make one of their own kind. The next one is excretion. So excretion is the removal of toxic waste substances from a living organism. And then lastly, we have nutrition. Nutrition is the taking in of food for growth, repair, and good health. So now there is a short activity that I want us to do, that we are going to be doing together. So on my screen there is a picture, 2 gentlemen there that are seated. All right. So the first question is for you, Cindy. You are going to be answering the first. So we are going to be rotating questions as we go along. All right. So the first question here is there is a picture there. So I want you to observe this picture carefully. And then there is the first question saying, list 3 different living things which you can see in Fig 1. So, Cindy, this is the question.
I can see a dog, a human.
Precisely, well done. So there is a dog, a human being, and a tree. So those are the 3 living things that are there on the diagram. All right. And then next one says list 5 different non-living things which you can see in Fig 1. So Rowan, this one is for you. Can you list for us 5 non-living things that you can see from the picture?
Metal, house,
Metal.
and plate.
Which metal are you talking about?
The pot, sir.
Okay, so you mean, okay, the pot, yes. What else? So the pot, what else?
Plate.
A plate, yes.
And a house.
A house, yes. We need 5.
Shoes and clothes.
Okay, shoes and clothes. Yeah, I'll take shoes and clothes as one. So one last one.
Stick.
Yeah, true, a stick.
In the dog's mouth.
So we can also see there are stones there. All right, I'm sure you can also see stones. And then there is a kettle, and then there is a cup. You know, one gentleman is holding a cup, and then there is also what else? What else? Maybe you can talk of the soil. Right. So those are some things that are non-living that we can see there. Anything else, Cindy? Do you see anything else that is non-living from the picture?
Um, the lunchbox by the man.
All right. Yes, that's true. That's true.
That's the only other thing I can say.
That's okay. Thank you so much for that one. So yes, there is a large box next to the gentleman. All right. Ready to go. So we will now move on to the next question. So now we move on to the multiple choice section. All right. So Cindy, we are back at you. So the first question,
Okay.
you can read the first, you can read the question and answer.
Okay. It says, which process causes this change?
All right, yes.
I think it's A, growth.
Growth. Okay. So the yeast might be growing. All right, yes, it's true. And then let's look at the next one. B. Rowan, this is now a question. B is now a question. You can read the
I
question.
think the answer is B, sir.
Is what?
B.
B. Okay. Why do you think it's B?
Because a plant can't poo.
So remember when we were looking at in yesterday's lesson, we're looking at characteristics of living organisms. We mentioned excretion as one of them. All right. So all living organisms can excrete. All right. I'll tell you one interesting. Yeah, you might wonder how plants excrete. All right. So, for example, you know that plants release oxygen into the atmosphere as a waste gas. So, oxygen is a waste product that is emitted by plants. All plants emit oxygen. So, oxygen is a waste product. Plants inside of them don't need excess oxygen. All right. And if they continue to keep the excess oxygen, it might be harmful to them. So, they release it through the leaves, through the stoma on the leaves. All right. So the release of oxygen by plants is an example of excretion itself. So yes, plants, all living organisms do excrete. And then irritability. Irritability is just the same as sensitivity. All right. If you expose a plant to some hazardous chemical, you might notice that the plant will start to react to the hazardous chemical. All right, which is an indication that it's being irritated. Or if you deprive a plant of water or of moisture, you will notice that it will start to wilt. That's a response to the irritation of moisture or water stress. So yes, all plants can can experience irritability. And then reproduction, yes, all plants can reproduce. You know, maize, one seed of maize, if you plant it, it can give you maybe uh 30 or more seeds of maize. All right. So do you want to change after these ideas that I've given you? Do you think you want to change your answer? Why not?
Sorry, A.
Yes, it's A. A is the right answer. We are now at part C. This one is for you, C.
Okay. Okay. Which one of the following functions is carried out by green plants but not by animals? It is C, photosynthesis.
Yes, it is photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is only carried out by plants. Plants are the only ones that are able to make their own food, right? Now, so using elimination there, all right, using elimination, the first answer is excretion. You know that all living organisms, all plants and all animals excrete. And then growth, you know that all plants and animals grow. Then respiration, you know that all plants and animals respire. So you can use the elimination technique. So it's one technique that you should apply when doing multiple choice questions, elimination. So you can eliminate these. Right. Let's move on to part D. Rowan, you are doing part D. Okay, but the question is saying, what characteristic of living organisms does this demonstrate? And then you have the answers here, A, B, C, and D. So you're just supposed to choose from the answers here. So irritability is just the same as sensitivity. Okay, Cindy, do you want to try part D?
D.
D.
Yes, that's what I think.
All right, so yeah, the correct answer is D, because we are saying before the glass is taped with a finger, all right, the fish are just moving randomly. But then now, when that human tapes the glass with a finger, you notice that all the fish are now moving towards, uh, all the fish are now moving towards the finger, all right? So there is an element of movement. And then what has caused the movement is a response to change. The glass has been taped, all right? So that's sensitivity or irritability, all right? All right, and then now we have number 2. This one is for you, Cindy.
Number 2. Complete the passage below by choosing the words from this list. A. Living things are often called organisms.
Yes, that's true.
B. All living things release energy from their food in a process called nutrition.
Not nutrition. Which process produces energy? From the 7
Respiration.
it is respiration. It is respiration. And then we're continuing. Part C.
Okay. But there's only 2 A and B. Okay. C. Some of the energy is used for
Okay, you can see the answers. Yeah.
growth.
Yes, you can use the energy for growth. What else? There are many processes that need energy there.
Movement.
Yes, movement needs energy. Yes, what else? Reproduction. For you to be able to reproduce, you need energy. And then excretion is
Yes.
and then excretion as well. For you to be able to excrete, you need energy. So all of these processes, except all processes actually need energy, even nutrition, because if you want to take in food, you also need energy. All right, and then we are now part D. You can just do part D, and then Rowan will do the rest.
Okay. D. The food from which the energy is released is taken into the body in a process called nutrition.
Yes, it's nutrition. Thank you for that one. Very good. Rowan, we are at you now. You're doing part E to H.
The answer for E is growth.
Yes, part E is growth. Thank you. Well done. And then part F. Let me know if you want me to scroll upwards to where the answers are.
Okay, please scroll upwards, sir.
There you go.
Reproduction, sir.
That's true. It's reproduction. And then part G.
Excretion.
Yes, it is excretion. And then H.
Sensitivity.
Yes, it's sensitivity. Well done. Thank you so much. All right, so that's it. So I'm sure you guys are now gurus. You now know about characteristics of living things. Any questions so far?
Not
No,
yet.
sir.